started. Hello. Just wanted to let you know straight off the bat, masks, we do ask that you keep them on throughout the performance. If you don't have a mask, that's totally okay. Just be aware of that when afterwards, if we're mingling or anything like that. Just be respectful of everyone's distance. So this is my first time doing this in a while, so please excuse me if I stutter or anything like that. But I'm Joel. Nice to meet you all. I am the artistic director of PTVR. So what are we? You might notice there's this tripod in the middle of the circle. So we are a theater company that's using virtual reality as a way to sort of bring the stage and the audience together. So later in the year, we're going to release this, and anyone online can watch this from anywhere. So if you have any friends or anyone that's interested in watching this amazing play, tell them about it, share the link, and that's how they can watch it. If you are not okay with you being recorded, basically if you see the camera can see you. If you're not okay with you being recorded or anything, please talk to me after the service. Oh my gosh. My dad's a pastor, sorry. Please talk to me after the reading and I'll blot it out so that everyone still feels comfortable. I just want to say thank you to Afterwards Bookstore. This is a great space, just awesome. One thing to note, don't go over there. There's some grease from the kitchen upstairs, so just don't go over there. Also, thank you for the Wish for helping this happen and letting this happen as well as all the actors. We're going to have a 5-minute intermission, and the bathrooms are over there. The women identifying bathroom is to the left. Male identifying bathroom is to the right. I don't know how you identify, so it's really up to you on that. And please turn off your phones or just like keep them silent or something like that. But yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this. This is our third season. Wow, all of you are getting your phones silenced? Okay. This is our third season, but this is our first time doing a filmed reading. So this is the first time we're going to have an audience here, and this is sort of the basis of the entire theater company. So thank you for being a part of the history of this idea, and thank you for being here to support the cause of this play. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Genevieve. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm the director of this reading. And I just wanted to give you a few things before the actors introduce themselves. Just a content warning for this play. There is a mention of sexual assault in the play, just something to be aware of. And then this is a cut version of the play, so it is a little bit longer, so please we encourage you to go online and read it. It's a great free resource. We have QR codes and a little packet of some of the things that either were cut out or more interactive parts of the play that we're not necessarily doing because it is a reading. So please check those out as well. All right, you all can introduce yourselves.
Hi, my name is Caitlin Dobbins. I use she, her pronouns.
My name is Sam. I use they and she pronouns. My name is Mel. I use she and they pronouns.
Chloe. I use they, them pronouns.
My name is Kristen. I use she, they pronouns.
Okay, thank you. And now we will begin this reading of The Wish. Scene 1.
There's a lot of things you could do with this. Read it, or act it, or use it for notes like big notes or epic letters. That say things like, I am in love with you, or I always hated the shape of your eyebrows, and I'm sorry I was a dick when I was a child. You could read it aloud to a lover, or yell it to a horrible person. Or you could sing it, which is all I can say. I really don't care what you do with this. I don't know what it is. I just know I keep seeing red over and over and over because Rose is gone. When you heard, what did your body do? I crouched on the floor in the kitchen. And I didn't want to get up. I felt my legs fold under me. And for a while I just didn't want to get up. I didn't want to get up, but I did, because there's nothing to do on the floor. And if I have a kid one day and they ask me, what did you do? I don't want to say I was on the floor. And if I don't have a kid one day and I ask myself, what did you do? I don't want to say I was on the floor. I don't want to look into anyone's eyes and say, I let my sadness be more important than my body. So I'm trying to do something. I'm trying to be a wild woman. I am trying to throw my bones in the teeth of the monsters so he will stop having to stop biting for a second to pick me up out of his mouth, and in the moment, someone else can run away. So I started making this thing, and it's like a play, but it's super chill, kind of, but also like brilliant. And it's kind of about abortion, and my idea was you could read it with your friends or family, maybe, I don't know if you're cool, or like with actors, like really do whatever you want. Like you can change whatever you want. Like I'm writing oranges, and then you're like, cross it out and be like clementines, or switch around, or switch the order around. You can drink tea and read it on the couch, and the fun thing about reading theater, it's like a really profane guided meditation, and it lets all of us be a little fearless or sexy or strange, and I think we all want to be one of those things sometimes, even now, especially now. Or you could read it into a bullhorn at a protest or something, and I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure my words would be really nasty little bitches coming out of a bullhorn, because I say crazy shit all the time, and like honestly that might be perfect because try to think, don't kill babies while I yell. Once I fucked so hard his penis bled on my desk. I flirted with a guy for an extra samosa chat once. I threw up an escalator. I regularly pee in the shower. Sometimes I imagine sitting on a Robin's Green's face, which is weird because I don't even really want to fuck him. See? Like, you can't. It's hard to think things when you yell stuff like that. An abortion isn't protected by a constitution anymore. But you can do theater whatever you want. You can learn wherever you want. You can yell, once I got fucked so hard his penis bled on my desk. Brett Kavanaugh was weak because he'd be like, yeah, she could say that. And also, the thing about theater is that you can't censor it. Once I write something, it's there forever. Like, watch this, like, this is the number for the National Abortion Federation Hotline. 1-800-772-9100. That's the real number. I didn't make it up. Now it's there, and you can't do anything about it. That's there forever, and every PDF and printed copy and to be yelled out over and over, and I put it in my play, and Amy Cohen Barrett would weep because she can do that. She can do that. She can do that. She can do that. So I think it would be good if we have some funny scenes that also spells and like other rooms and information like the hotline so protected, like a fly in an amber, like fuck Socus. Anyone with this PDF still know. 1-800-772-9100. And also, hopefully, more things. Because no one is coming to save us. Because I think we're going to have to save us. My grandmother used to say when I was 2, that girl is brilliant. It was the best compliment I ever remember getting. And I can't even imagine her saying, that girl is brilliant. But I would really, really like to be. And I think brilliant people would see disaster and they say, what can I do? And when they think about it for a while and they do whatever it is they say, think of so I asked some other writers I love and if they would do something with me. And they said yes. And this is what we did.
2, Claire's peering into scenes that drive with a flashlight.
I
I don't see anything, and like I don't have a speculum, so it's like not super open.
Something is in there. Like a piece of tampon or something?
If tampons did that, everyone would be dead all the time.
What?
Like if they pulled apart and left pieces in your vag, everyone would get TSS and die.
When I like move my hips, I can feel something like high up.
Did you try reaching for it?
With the tampon I did, I like popped the tampon halfway and it like swirled it. Like how you can clean a toilet with a brush, like I got it up there and swirled it.
Okay, did you try your fingers?
No.
Wait, why?
That's what I need you to do.
Why didn't you?
It like freaks me out. I don't know what I'm doing in there. Like I could go up too high.
Okay, I just want to like confirm, you allow people to shove their dicks in there and just like fly blind in there, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and you've had other people's fingers in
Fuck
there?
you. Can
Okay,
you
but
just,
you're
like-
worried that you're gonna put your own finger too high up in your own
I know it
vagina.
doesn't make sense. I know
Okay.
that. But like I can't deal with that right now.
Okay, fine.
So like I'll like work towards finger banging myself or whatever, but right now I need you to figure out what is in there. So I need you to put your fingers in there. You have like little long dentist fingers.
Fine.
Will you do that for me?
Yeah, obviously I'm gonna do
Okay.
it. I mean, I think we should do something to commemorate, like, this is the last moment of our friendship that I won't have had my hand in your badge.
And it's been a pleasure.
Yep.
I look forward to this new era.
Okay.
Yep. Are your hands clean?
Fuck you are my hands.
Fine, I'm sorry.
I washed them when you asked me to come look at your vagina.
I'm sorry. I'm very nervous. I'm very nervous.
Okay. Like, do you want me to do it?
Yes,
or-
I want you to do it.
Claire attempts to put her finger inside. Dina's too tight.
I'm sorry.
Well, don't be sorry. You just have to relax. Think about the Irish seal rescue we found. Remember the little baby one in the bathtub? And it was like learning how to eat the fishes, and the one that looked exactly like your dad's dog.
I love the spotted
Yeah, the
ones.
spotted ones are great. I'm gonna try again, okay?
Claire gets a finger inside her.
Okay.
It's farther up.
No, I know. I just don't want to like shoot up there too fast, though.
Claire tries to get her finger higher up.
Like here?
Yeah, just like maybe feel around there.
Okay. I think. Okay. I'm gonna put another finger in.
Yeah.
Does that? I don't want to pinch you.
I don't care if you pinch me. I can like I just need it out.
Okay.
Claire tries to grab the thing. Dean is profoundly uncomfortable but holding still. Claire pulls her hand out of Dean, holding a small piece of condom.
I got it.
Seriously. Oh my god. What is that?
Claire moves her finger to very clearly reveal the tip of a condom. 3. Longtime clinic nurse. She eats a large dose.
You know how it works though? I mean, do you really know? Can you tell me which 2 medications you take? Can you spell their names? Yeah. See, so that's the problem. You need to know what the medications are. You need to be able to ask for what you need. Because where we're headed, you may have to get the medications yourself. I'm serious, you know. As a matter of fact, it's ulcer medication in Mexico. Over the counter. So, okay. Okay. This is the basics. Yes, just the basics. With the medication, abortion, it's 2 pills. Okay? And they're gonna work together to terminate your pregnancy. And this is if you're up to 10 weeks, you can do it this way. You go to the clinic and they're gonna give you 2 pills. You're gonna take the first one there. The first one is mifepristone. Mifepristone. You might wanna write that down. And this sort of freezes the pregnancy, okay? Mifepristone is a progesterone blocker. You know what progesterone is? It's a hormone and you need it to be pregnant. You need it for the embryo to grow. So you take the mifepristone, progesterone blocked, uterine lining breaks down, and the second pill is misoprostol. Misoprostol. Sometimes they'll have you take it there at the clinic too, okay? Sometimes they'll tell you to take it 2 days later, depends on the person. The misoprostol is going to make you pass the pregnancy tissue, okay? So this is when you're going to have some cramps, like really intense period cramps for a lot of people, okay? And you're gonna wanna be wearing a big maxi pad to absorb, you know, it's like a period, but there's some larger pieces of tissue. So you're gonna wanna take some ibuprofen, relax, use a heating pad. Maybe you want someone to sit with you. Maybe you don't. I don't know, but you gotta rest. And then a week or so later, you go back to the clinic, they do a blood test, they check you out, clear you. That's what it is. It's 2 pills. You didn't know that, right? It's 2 pills.
4. You know me enters followed by a chorus. You know me addresses the audience.
Mama said I could go to the protest. She told me to be careful because we can't afford bail or a funeral. Okay, she didn't say that part, the funeral part. Go over much. I'm kidding. I'm not though. Believe what you want. There are people in this audience who know what I'm saying. I hope. She said she was proud of me. I was proud to be her daughter in that moment. I knew she wanted to come with me. We shared silence. She wants to be there, but maybe that's secret too personal for me to share. Not sure who's in the audience. Before she had me, she went to protest. Could you guess what about? Leave it alone. I'm sharing code because I'm not safe. Not even in the theater community. Oops. Collective dreaming and action. I got dreams I'd like to share with other people. Did you peep it? I wish I could. Some say shit, and I am. I'm going to my body, and what I do with it, I'm talking about me in this moment. And I can only talk in code because I don't feel fucking safe. Not even in a theater. In the theater, of all places. And where people do that innocent shit like, I don't know what shit they doing nowadays. Don't answer that. So I talk the way I do because I'm not safe. I'm not safe. Talking in code ain't easy when you're angry. You just learn to do it because it's clear. Mama said talking from your mouth, your body, can get you fucking killed or dragged into shit. You can't fucking hold or handle shit that you... I feel real bad. How you feel? Shh. Wait. Tell me at the protest. If you want. And after, I'll tell you about my dreams. It feels like people are robbing me. And I see it, and I smell it, and I hear it. And I'm being robbed. This is my stuff. Mama confirmed it. She told me this is my stuff. And when I was 5, she taught me that. She said, it's devastating. Because you feel like you want to be run, you feel like you want to run the world and tell them, I have been robbed. I'm being robbed, don't you see? Are you catching what I'm... Or maybe you run to someone who do something more about it, committed against you, but when you run, you realize the people you're running to either watched it happen, DA robbers who did that shit, had no idea what the fuck is going on or they're being robbed too. But I had a mama though. Maybe I'll make a friend today who's just as scared as I am.
5.
Get a pen and paper. Write a list of dead people who spent their lives trying to destroy our civil liberties. Antonin Scalia, Felice Scalifo, Richard DuBois, Jerry Farwell. Close your eyes. Remember, those motherfuckers are dead. Remind yourself you don't have to mourn the passing of people who spent their lives trying to kill people like you. Remind yourself whatever harm they may have done, they're not around to do it anymore. You're here, and you're alive. You're the one making history right now.
6, hypersexuality and necromancy.
I'm unabashed in the ways I've failed the previous generational masses. What's left of the killing that did not make me die? Yes, there was blood. Yes, there were remnants of me, unto which my mother made, unto which hers did. But I look closer, I spill and am spilt on, but all of me stays here. This time I scream and contort, but choose what I give my body, not what I give my body to this time.
A man I won't see in a week this time.
A tongue that told me I looked good under street light this time.
Something that will enter but not cut me this time.
Not a blade or scalpel or an edge that will scrape off that unto which I wasn't allowed to feel. Unto which my mother wasn't allowed to feel, unto which hers couldn't either. This time a thing that will feel sharp, but in the best way this time.
I'll make use of what was left of what I lost.
7, I feel safe when
I'm with my family.
I would like the world to have more.
Dogs.
I feel the ground shaking from under me when
I'm lost.
I only tell my dreams to those who
Love me.
I only tell my nightmares to those who
Deserve
it.
The place that brings me the most joy is
Home.
I love that.
I am loved.
I feel my safety is compromised when
I'm
He's there.
alone.
8, Claire reads from an old journal.
My name is Claire and I am 8 years old. When I grow up, I want to be a veterinarian and a tap dancer. I will tap dance while I hold the animals and I will tap dance for the animals. I want to have beautiful hair on my legs like my mom. I want to have one really big boob that I can feed all the babies with and one little boob that is just for me and I can just hold it. I will have 7 dogs and 7 cats and 7 ferrets and they will all be friends. My mother says this is unrealistic due to prey drive. I will have a bathtub and lots of candles and I will be allowed to light them myself. I think I would also like to help people. I don't know how yet, but maybe I could make them food or be a massage therapist. Also, I would like to go to Thailand and Russia. I saw this woman at the zoo, only it's not a zoo, it's a sanctuary. There's bears there that people stole, so they can't be where they're supposed to because they never learned how. So they have to stay at this place where people take care of them and you can visit them, but you can't touch them. There are 2 fences. I was looking at a bear called Mia, and there was a woman who was also looking at Mia next to me. She was smiling at the bear, and she was wearing blue shorts and a black shirt tied in the back. And she had boobs, and you could see her shoulder blades, and her hair was all tangled in a big bun, and it looked red, even though it was actually black, I think. She could look at the bear for as long as she wanted because she was an adult, and my mom was saying we needed to keep going, but no one told her that. She looked so happy, and she had a little backpack, and I said to her, "You look beautiful." She looked surprised, like no one had said that to her before, and if I could be like her and look at the bears and no one could tell me when to stop, I think I would be very happy.
9,
Dee, how'd it go today?
It was okay. The doctors were really nice and it was quick, but I felt it sucked out of me. I threw up for a few hours and I couldn't stomach the spaghetti George got me, but I'm good now.
Phew, I'm glad you're all set.
Oh my God, tell me why George just Venmoed me for the abortion and named it Flat Tummy Tea.
I'm crying.
Not flat tummy tea.
But in all seriousness, flat tummy tea can be used for abortions.
What are you talking
How
about?
do you know?
I used it
When?
a few months ago for the 3rd abortion. I couldn't get my cousin to drive me to New York this time around.
Why didn't you go to
I
Georgia?
was past the 22-week mark. And it's not like I knew this whole time. I had my period regularly and my stomach never grew or anything, so I didn't know what to do.
And how did you find out Flat Tummy Tea worked?
My friend told me caraway teas can cause miscarriages, and I had a random sample packet in my dorm room. In a big white label, it says not safe for pregnancy, and I thought, well, if it won't be safe for the fetus inside me, it'll leave, right? So it left. I had a miscarriage.
I don't know whether to say I'm sorry or congratulations.
Say both. I deserve it.
11. Chance for a counter protest when you've exhausted your supply and there is ignorance to drown.
Bum 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 down, bum.
A woman once told me I have devil eyes. Did you see the HBO show Hung from the early 2000s? Because honestly, it's kind of amazing and Jane Addams is in it.
I wish I remembered what breast milk tasted like.
I got my period when I was 12 at the dentist, and I felt it was anticlimactic.
Chamomile tea is good for diarrhea.
You should make microwave s'mores. My sister is a genius at them. You put a marshmallow on a graham cracker and sprinkle chocolate chips over that and microwave it for 20 seconds and put another graham cracker on top. The day I moved into my apartment, my landlord said, "You will be lonely here," when he handed me the key.
I once accidentally handcuffed my grandmother.
I have several mugs with raccoons on them.
I liked Pam's first Mom on The Office better.
I want to love my body hair a lot, but I don't. Is it true our menstrual cycles are tied to the phases of the moon? Is that a thing? I think it's a thing, but actually I don't know if it's true. Okay, wait now, I'm looking it up. Okay, apparently it's not actually true. Like, sometimes it lines up, but it's just basically based on the fact that the lunar cycle and menstrual cycle are like about the same amount of days.
Did you have the mosquito bite scars too? I feel like I have so many and bigger wounds heal better, and I didn't get it.
I can only vomit super loudly.
I still cannot spell restaurant correctly 90% of the time.
I had a dream once. I had a daughter named Eve. Sometimes when I cry, I see myself crying in my head.
12. Longtime clinic nurse is drinking a cappuccino.
So my apologies if this is obvious for some of you. The one thing they always want me to go over is periods.
She draws a large piece of paper next to her.
Okay, uterus. Where's the uterus? It's not a rhetorical question. Show me on your bellies where you think it is. Everybody, show. Whether you have one or not, show me where you think it is. So it's low in the uterus. I'm seeing some hands up by the stomach. It's lower than that, okay? It's not up here. Think about it, right? It opens into the vagina. Vaginas are all the way down here, okay? They're only like 3 to 6 inches long. They're not long enough to reach up in here. They're down here, okay? You know how big a uterus is most of the time? Like a pear. 3 inches long, 2 inches wide. Either side, you've got 2 fallopian tubes and 2 ovaries. So the tubes are like arms, and they connect the uterus to the ovaries. Each tube is about 4 to 5 inches long, about ½ an inch wide. And then at the end, we've got the ovaries. Ovaries are where the eggs are stored. How big is an ovary? Average ovary. Look at an almond. Size of an almond. 2 almonds on the sides of a pear connected with the little arms. Average menstrual cycle is 28 days, but it can be anywhere from 21 to 35 days. First part, menses. Days 1 to 5. This is your period. Okay? This is when your uterine lining sheds. That's technically the beginning of the cycle, but we're gonna work our way back to that. Second part, follicular phase. Days 6 to 14 or so. Estrogen production in your body goes up. The lining of the uterus gets thick. What's the lining of the uterus called? Endometrium. Follicle stimulating hormone is another hormone that's active around this time. Anyone want to guess what the follicle stimulating hormone does? It stimulates follicles. What's a follicle? It's a little sac with some fluid with an immature egg in it. So the egg, the immature egg, is inside the follicle. Follicle swells up. Days 10 to 14, one of these follicles is going to make a mature egg. Third part, ovulation. Around day 14, another hormone shows up. Luteinizing hormone tells your ovary to let go of the mature egg, okay? That's ovulation. Fourth part, luteal phase. Last part. Days, this is approximate, okay? 15 to 28. Egg moves through the fallopian tubes, the hormone progesterone goes up, helps your body get ready to be pregnant if the egg needs a sperm cell in the fallopian tube. Your endometrium is nice and thick, so if the egg needs a sperm, it can implant, okay?
in the lining. That would be the beginning of a pregnancy. And there's no such thing as the moment of conception. No such thing. They want you to think like the egg and the sperm meet, bam, conception. It actually takes about 24 hours for a sperm cell to fertilize an egg. There's no moment. Sort of a theatrical phrase, the dumbasses use to keep you down. So don't use their made-up words, okay? Moment of conception is made up. It's made up. If the egg does not meet a sperm cell, if it is not fertilized, it passes through the uterus and out through the vagina along with the endometrium, okay? And that brings us back to where we started. Period. Menses. Everything starts back up again.
13, spell for compassion.
Imagine yourself at 14 in all your chaos and terror. The image of classmates you disliked at an age. Did they scare you? Were they cruel? Did they get on your nerves? Picture them as violently as you can. Remember their braces or their smell of copious amount of hair gel they use, or their ripped jeans form, or the Cheeto dust that clean on their fingers after lunch. Sit in the seat of your adulthood and observe them from there. See them as their snapping bolt of light that they will love. Go to the shoreline on the miserable day. Choose a day with weather that makes you want to turn inside out. It can be too hot, too gray, too clammy, any climate that makes you upset as soon as you leave your home.
Step 4, take off your shoes and walk on the beach. Walk along the water near the rocks. Allow them to cut your feet. Step 5, look for a small stone. Pluck it out of foam and wipe it with your shirt. Step 6, put it in your mouth.
Step 7, sit in a cross-legged position. Watch the waves come in and imagine that each one that crashes on the shore is carrying a part of that classmate you taught yourself to love. Taste the salt on the stone as the waves bring you their braces, their scuffed shoes, their toothbrush caked in a film of saliva, their carefully collated homework, their secret film canister of skunk weed, their knowledge of how to change the oil in their car, their dreams of falling in love, their promises to their future selves, their various shames, their capacity for growth. Watch those qualities crash on the sand as the waves break. Step 8. As the stone scrapes the insides of your mouth, imagine a child you've never met. Don't give them a face, or a name, or habits, or hobbies. Do not imagine yourself, or someone you know. Do not allow yourself to be trapped within the limits of who and what you can relate to. Imagine, instead, hope and the sharp sparkle of a future. Conjure it as strongly as you can. Step 9, wish that hope into that child's chest. Wish them a life and a world that will hold them softly. Wrap them inside it. Wish for them until the sun sets.
Step 10, remove the stone from your mouth. Place it in your pocket. Step 11, repeat for 7 days and 7 nights. Step 12, on the 7th night, return to the shoreline. Dig a hole and place the stone inside of it. Bury it as deeply as you can. Pray that it has absorbed something. Remember, of course, that it hasn't, but maybe you have.
14, I see the word kitchen.
And flash to the rapist, the back seat, the pregnancy, the morning after is another moment where my back presses against cold metal, the blood, the blood, the blood. He said blood didn't scare him and went at me anyway. When I think of poems now, I think of blood. The one that left me, the one that pulled on the fabric, the one that wasn't enough to count as a period, but enough to count as another thing bellowing and about to live inside of me. How evil we all are. When I think of poems, I think of a statement I don't want to write, but is the only thing to prove what has been done to me. Never mind the blood if it doesn't have a date on it. What good is it to talk about the blood if I'm drained into a ghost of myself? What good is it to talk about the blood if it wasn't enough to say I was hurt the first time? What good is it to talk about the blood if the stench stays no matter how much I wring it out? I don't talk about the blood because it wasn't enough at first.
I don't talk about the blood, because everywhere, someone assumes I mean the time my pussy was cut out, not the other ways I bled, not the other faces that loomed over it with glee and denial that the blood meant I was hurt. I don't talk about the blood. Because the last time a white woman cried on my shoulder unprovoked, I had to wipe her tears from my own undoing.
17. Longtime clinic nurse eats a large piece of cheesecake.
So the most common kind of abortion, most common, okay? Vacuum aspiration abortion, suction abortion. So most of the time when you're having an in-clinic abortion, when someone goes in for an abortion, okay, most of the time this is what they're talking about. They're always gonna make you talk to someone first. They're always gonna do an exam first. They might do an ultrasound to check where you are pregnancy-wise. And then what they do, you're gonna get some kind of sedation, usually. So you might be out or you might be in some sort of like a twilight spot. They're gonna put a speculum in, just like, you know, a pap smear, and they're gonna inject your cervix with some numbing medication, okay? You know what the cervix is? It's the lowest part of the uterus, where it opens into the vagina. It's what they pinch during a pap smear. So then what they need to do is dilate the cervix. They need to open it because they need access to your uterus. They use dilation rods. And once your cervix is open enough, they're gonna put a thin tube through your cervix and into your uterus, okay? The tube's connected to a little handheld suction machine, and they're gonna gently suck the pregnancy tissue out. And they'll give you, they're gonna recommend pain meds for you. Ibuprofen, antibiotics, they'll prescribe you antibiotics. The abortion itself, everything, the suction, start to finish, you know how long that takes? 5 to 10 minutes. You'll be there longer than that if you have to stay for about an hour afterwards in a recovery area. Sometimes I ask, how long do you think that takes? And some people say hours. One woman said days. A couple years ago, I swear to God, she said days. Like labor, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of people walking around out there thinking they stick a vacuum up your vagina and they suck it out for a couple hours. Or days. I mean, people who might actually need this procedure, people who would still get this procedure thinking that. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things we can't explain in the universe. I believe that I believe I was in communication with my grandmother's spirit in my childhood bathroom. But the nice thing about abortion is that we can explain it easily. It's not very complicated.
18. Somewhere a girl is scared. She's not so much of a girl anymore. She's learned that when no one's looking, men who so delicately hold the door for you, give you their umbrella in the rain, tilt their head and see you when you're crying, kind men who insist on carrying your suitcase, climb on top of scared girls when you're crying, kind men, tearing into them like a bag of potato chips. Not so much of a girl, she lays with a swelled up belly on top of a table in someone's garage. Let's call her Aurora because the father of the baby liked her best sleeping. There's a woman who would be a witch in a fairy tale, but we're in 2022, so she's just a criminal. Grim fairy tales, yes. This woman holds Aurora's hand. Almost cutlery clacks on the table. Aurora is still scared and decides speech can distract her.
Everything is better while dreaming.
I wish I could, but I'm all out. So many appointments this week.
I am strong, but I don't want to be awake.
I know, baby. Just relax, okay? I'm going to take care of you. A mind-numbing potion will do well. I'll never take liquor away from us.
Aurora takes a sip. She calms for a moment, but her thoughts catch up.
Your mind is moving. I can sense it. There's always a risk with spells like these.
I don't want to die. I'd make myself ready to survive instead of this. The risk.
Spell or no spell, the risk of death is yours. Split your body in half now or a few months down the road. Own the reasons for the choice. That's all. There's still time. I don't want you to do something you're not certain of. It doesn't help.
Babies have to look like their fathers. It's biological. If not, cavemen would smash their baby's head open. Nature's own paternity test. They haven't evolved much.
No.
We haven't either. We make magic. I made magic out of what he did to me. Baby out of pain, and you can make it all go away.
Yes, but you must be sure.
I could give that magic to someone else. They don't come easy. So many women are barren.
Yes.
I read the numbers. Only 3% of women who do this have been pregnant by force.
Numbers lie. Magic tells the truth. My figures would scare you if I counted. Sleeping beauties everywhere.
Still. I told my mother she wants me to keep the magic because it is magic and there's no point in pretending that. But I can know it's magic and not want to look at its face. Because I've read what women will say. You'll wake up to see his face every day. It's a bad spell for life.
Yes. Magic can only take you so far. Is it a curse? You and I are here today? Yes. We've been cursed from the start. Close your eyes. We're almost done. End of play, I say. Guilt hangs in the air and time is useless. Because it won't move us forward. The fairy tale is never ending. There is always another Aurora. How can I cast spells, but I can't stop girls like her from coming in?
19, Annie and Claire are a little stoned.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How many? Like, if the way we could make cis men care about abortion, I mean, I guess straight cis guys was blowjobs. Like, how many would you do?
That's the worst, like, that's like the most depressing question I've ever heard. And then they'd be like loyal abortion warriors forever.
Yeah, it would be like a contract that they have to really care about that after. Maybe, I don't know how many.
Like, what if we all chip in and we have to do like 3 each?
I could do 3, or like, I guess I could do more if it meant like, I think we should probably like spare the really old women from that though. Just like, I mean, unless they really want to. But like, I just think if you were like alive and fighting for Roe originally, like you shouldn't have to suck some apathetic dicks for abortion rights.
Or maybe Bitcoin would work.
Yeah, they'd probably do it for Bitcoin. Like they'd go to a protest for Bitcoin.
No,
like,
totally, absolutely.
Like we could get someone to donate a lot of Bitcoin and then like mobilize cis
Maybe
men.
like Oprah.
Yeah. Or like, there aren't a lot of good people with money.
Yeah.
George Takei.
Oh my god, okay, Beyonce.
Oh, duh.
Also, isn't Ben and Jerry's like really progressive
Yeah.
and like Tom's of
Yeah.
Maine people and like Bernie Sanders?
So we've got Oprah, George Takei, Beyonce, and Ben and
And
Jerry's.
Tom and Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, and they're gonna pay the cis men of America to care about abortion.
To protest, yeah, like engage. Don't you love like when you first get your period, like the first day, and you wipe and it's pink?
You get pink. Yeah. I don't get pink.
Even at the beginning?
No.
It's like an amazing color. I want like a tank top that color. What?
You're so fucking weird.
You never see like an impossible color and want to wear it.
What's an impossible color?
A color like you know you're not gonna find it if you try. It's just like a gift color, like you're seeing it somewhere, but you know you can't find it. Like you won't ever really find it somewhere else.
Yeah. I had turquoise shorts when I was little. I'd never found that kind of turquoise again.
But what about from nature or your body?
Like the color of cats of the third eyelid. That color. I want a gown in that color.
I didn't know you had 3.
I didn't know you for the first one. I was like early high school. You had any?
No. Can I tell you something? It still scares me a little. Abortion still scares me a little. Like the thought of getting one is like I'd do it, but I'd be like a little scared, I think. And like I'll fight anybody any day for it. Like it just still scares me a little, and I'm worried that makes me bad. Because I know better. I know it's safe. I know it's like fine.
But you've only known that for like a couple of years.
Yeah.
And people taught you to be scared for like way more years than that. So now like you know better, but your body hasn't caught up yet because there's still like fear to metabolize. Like it's still in your fat cells and there's like years of fear in there.
Okay, but it's gonna get out of them though, right?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know how much it like matters.
Well,
I mean, no, like it matters, like it's fucked. I'm not saying it's your fault, obviously. Yeah. It's bad you've been made to feel like unsafe doing something else safe.
yeah.
But we do a lot of things scared.
It just kind of feels like there's no room to be scared because like politically, I don't know. Like now Roe's gone and I was like kind of scared and confused and I should have been like sharper. So I feel like maybe that's my fault a little.
Yeah, it's all your fault. Yeah. I heard Clarence Thomas was gonna save Roe, but then he heard like this girl named Claire was processing her feelings about abortion, and that's why we're fucked. They didn't overturn Roe because of people like you who are like honest with processing, like where they are and believe in abortion and are like working on it. It happened because people are scared of us.
Nobody's scared of us.
Yeah, they are. They totally are. I've been pregnant and unpregnant 3 times. I'm like not sorry about it. And I'm like hot. And I got into all the fucking schools I wanted because I'm like really smart and my parents love me. And I made cinnamon rolls this morning and I'm happy. So I think that's what they're scared of, probably.
20.
Herbs, witchcraft. Pressure, witchcraft. It was never a choice and it will never be a choice. We will always find a way. 8th century, we would sit over steamed onions. Sanskrit. Before theater, we found a way. Greeks used silphium, botanicals. You would have to take away everything about this earth to stop abortions. In the Bible, Numbers 5:11 through 31 states, if a man is suspicious of his wife's fidelity and she's pregnant, he would take her to the high priest. The priest would make a substance for the woman to drink. Her abdomen will swell and her womb will miscarry. Wait, does that mean abortion doesn't count if it's in the Bible? Abortion may be in the Bible, but it's not in the Constitution. So I think the best way to fix this is if I, a witch, go back in time and convince the convention members, time machine spell, go! Wicked wonders. This is a constitutional convention member. I'm sorry, I don't have a wig. A woman and what are these godforsaken slacks? Jeans, not important. Sir, I am a woman of a different time. I'm from an America you could only dream of. We sent the first man to the moon. Us! He landed and everything. We do it all the time now. We made so many great strides, including ending slavery and giving people the right to love freely. He looks horrified. That's not the America he wanted to create. Moon-hating slave owner. And he got what he wanted. They overturned Roe. Everything is moving backwards. But if the goal is to end abortion, are they going to take away cinnamon, pineapples, lemon juice, papayas, yoga, parsley, sesame seeds, hot showers, aspirin, pomegranate, and more? Because people are going to go on the internet and they're going to try to do it at home with yoga and aspirin. Without proper medical treatment, they could experience toxicity, hemorrhaging, scarring, infection, and an incomplete abortion. There is no choice. We will always find a way. If you try to do it at home, here are the warning signs for a bad abortion, because it can happen and you need to be prepared. Bleeding that soaks through a pad in under 1 hour. Bloody vomit. Stool or urine. Fever or chills. Yellowing of your skin or eyes. Severe pain in your abdomen or pelvis. Vomiting and loss of appetite. Loss of consciousness and inability to wake up or stay awake. Sweaty, cold, bluish, or pale skin, and confusion. I wish you didn't have to. I wish you could have space for dignity and safety. Alone in your room is dignified, but it certainly isn't safe.
We will now take a short intermission, so feel free to stretch and use the bathroom if you need to, and we'll start.
Thanks, Beverly.
Before we start back with the reading, we have someone from the Wish here.
Hi everybody, my name is Vanessa Farrell. I'm one of the 5 members of the Wish Collective. I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about us and how the Wish came to be. So Justice Hayhier, an incredible writer, after the passing of the Texas SB 8 bill, which restricted abortion rights in Texas, decided to bring together a collective of writers to write a piece called The Wish, a last-ditch effort to save abortion in the United States through theater. And you know it's bad when the theater kids have to show up. And we did. We wrote the play, and then the leak of the Supreme Court decision to reverse Roe came out. And we were like, oh my God, okay, we have to rewrite the play. And then we did, and the day we released the play, Roe was reversed 2 hours later. And so the idea behind the play is that it's an accessible document that anyone can do, can perform anywhere, and it not only is supposed to hold space for those of us who are losing our rights, it's supposed to raise awareness, but it's also supposed to help us understand our bodies. And there's been a lot of beautiful stuff that's happened. It's been performed in over 20 states now. Illinois is one of them. Every week in Texas, at the Capitol of Austin, a group of people come together and they read the play aloud. And they actually have started going inside the Capitol, and politicians have stopped by and seen, and then just different people will walk by and join. So we're really trying to raise awareness around this play. So if you, after the reading, want to talk to me about any of the initiatives we have, we recently received support from a donor. There's a super fancy donor who I can't name yet because it hasn't been announced, who wants to help us with our reproductive rights library. We're trying to send out 10 plays that advocate for reproductive rights across the United States to clinic deserts. And we're also going to have our first full production of this play in Little Rock, Arkansas.
You said
this
Little
year.
Rock?
Yeah.
That's where we're from.
Oh,
wow, that's crazy.
Oh, period.
That.
Yeah, so this is just a long rant on what the Wish is. Not a rant, but an explanation. And I just want to say thank you for being here and thank you for engaging. This is something we will probably be fighting for the rest of our lives. And I just hope that this play helps you and those who have been impacted by this feel less alone. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Scene 23. Witch is in a position of repose. She takes her time, perhaps massages her hands.
May those who love us, and for those who don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if He doesn't turn their hearts, may He turn their ankles, so we will know them by their limping. It's a good one, right? Irish. Old. Have you ever heard of Matcha? Irish goddess. So there was this farmer who lost his wife. He had to leave his children alone while he worked in the fields. He couldn't take care of them very well, couldn't run a house very well. And one day he comes home and there's this beautiful woman, obviously a goddess, obviously a little magic. And she's cleaned the house and taken care of the children and cooked a meal. She adopts the family, becomes his wife, becomes the mother of those children, gets pregnant. Her only condition to being there, to living as a human woman, essentially, was the farmer could tell no one of her magic. She was fast. That was one of her powers. Faster than anyone or anything else when she ran. So one day, her husband goes to the feast to celebrate the king's new horses he's bought. All the men in the village go. And Matcha reminds him not to tell anyone about her powers, not to boast. And he doesn't for most of the night. But he's drinking, and when the king says his horses are the fastest creatures on the face of the earth, he says, no, my wife is faster. And the king doesn't believe it, he's embarrassed, so he sends his men to go get Matcha, and says if she doesn't race his horses, her husband will die. Matcha is just about full term pregnant with twins. And she doesn't want to run. She goes with the king's men because she wants to save her husband. So she pleads with the king and his men. She pleads and pleads. She says, don't make me do this. Help me. Protect me. But the men don't listen. They're drunk. They want to see a race. They don't help her. So Matcha and the horses race. and she goes into labor as she runs, but she keeps running and she wins, and she crosses the finish line, she gives birth. 2 dead twins, stillborn. And she holds her 2 dead babies, and she turns to men and she curses them for not using their strength to protect her when she needed it, when she begged them to help her. She says from now on, whenever they need their strength most, it will desert them. Instead, they'll endure 9 days and nights of labor pains. Every man in Ulster, every time they need their strength, 9 days and 9 nights for 9 generations will feel the ravages of childbirth inside them. May those who love us, love us. And for those who don't love us, may God turn their hearts. And if he doesn't turn their hearts, may he turn their ankles, so we will know them by their limping. You want to say it together? It's good to say things together sometimes. I like it.
She says each line, pausing after, allowing the rest of the cast and audience to repeat.
May those who love us, love us.
May those who love us, love us.
And for those who don't love us,
And for those who don't love us,
may God turn their hearts.
may God turn their hearts.
And if he doesn't turn their hearts,
And if he doesn't turn their hearts,
may he turn their ankles.
may he turn their ankles.
So we will know them by their limping.
So we will know them by their limping.
24.
Hey, is anyone awake? I just feel like I'm not real. Like, sure, these infographics are getting better and gender inclusive and adding women and non-binary and trans men when they talk about abortions. Even the latest statistics say there are this many abortions instead of women with abortions now, but I don't know. It just feels like it's out of courtesy, you know? Like I'm not actually advocating for it. This is all to say that at the post-Roe grief circle thingy, after I talked about my abortion, a woman cried and called me she. And no one corrected her. But there was like 10 of us there. And we all introduced ourselves and our pronouns. I just don't get why if you're a non-binary person of color and you go through some form of gender-based anything, you're suddenly a woman. For that brief moment, I convinced myself that she, her was a reclamation of the girl who was on the medal table, an assurance that she survived along with me. For that brief moment, but the truth is, sometimes she can be a white flag. An exasperated sigh after a person calls me a powerful lady. An uncomfortable silence, even when y'all sometimes call me a girl and maybe what happened to me.
25.
For this next part, I need you to imagine that I am 16 feet tall. Look at me and see that I am 16 feet tall, and also that I have tentacles, and also that my hair is pulled back in a tight ponytail, and also that I have a binder carefully organized with color-coded tabs. Imagine that my teeth are the size of your middle finger, and they overlap like an anglerfish's, and also I have a pocket protector and a maroon wool cardigan. My name is Tracy, and I am both a horrifying eldritch creature from the sea and the captain of the debate team. I am going to deliver a straightforward, perfectly reasoned series of arguments in a stream of words that will feel like a fire hose, and you are going to listen the entire time to every single word, because you are startled and awed by how terrifying and organized I am. The first section of the 14th Amendment states that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of the citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. Life, liberty, and property are broad words. Liberty especially is a big, wide concept. The decision of Roe was written by Harry Blackmun, who was a newer justice at the time because no one else wanted to write it because, you know, gross. Harry Blackman talked to a doctor and learned what pregnancy was, and he decided that pregnancy could be split into 3 trimesters. He decided that because a fetus is not viable during the first 2 trimesters, the state has no place regulating abortion in that time frame because it would be an impingement of the freedom granted by the 14th Amendment. Specifically, the liberty to privacy, because the decision is one that should be made by a woman and her doctor. A lot of these conservative justices are textualists, which supposedly means they hew strictly to the text of the Constitution. They argue that there's no room for any real interpretation. This initially sounds kind of, sort of, a little bit reasonable, yeah? Like, yes, you should follow the language of the law carefully. But if you think about it, you start to see that it is complete and utter nonsense. Like, here's an example of a textualist argument. Imagine there's a park, and there's a sign in the park that says, no vehicles are allowed to enter. Imagine that a man has had a heart attack in the park, and an ambulance is called. Imagine that ambulance drives into the park so they can remove the man and save his life. The question is, should the EMTs get in trouble for driving a vehicle into the park? Now, if you're a normal fucking human being, you probably think it's reasonable to break the rules to save a man's life. But if you're a textualist, you'd say, no, the sign says no vehicles, someone should be punished. It's some next level smooth brain shit. This is an extremely useful lens for reactionary conservative radicals because they can look at the Constitution and say, oh, well, yes, the word abortion isn't in here, or, well, I see nothing about gay marriage, or, seems like they didn't mention birth control, or sodomy's not here, so it's not constitutionally protected, or nothing's in here about racial integration. In addition to being a deeply insidious and subjective way to view the law, it's also, on its face, absolutely insipid. If the entire job of a judge is to interpret the law and to figure out how to apply it to a modern context, it seems as though textualism is like an explicit refusal to do that job. Like the depth of your interpretation is doing a Control+F to search on a PDF of the Constitution and shrugging and going like, yeah, I tried. It's insulting. I am insulted that you'd make decisions about what rights I do and do not have based on something that's so fucking lazy. I'm going into all this detail because I want you to know that these dorks in their robes aren't better than you. Their arguments are not intricate or beautifully constructed. I'm sharing all of this so that no one can convince you that you don't just understand. You do understand. You are capable. This is not beyond you. It sounds to me like we've been gaslit by these goo-brained fossils into questioning a decision that's actually very reasonable. It sounds to me like there's nothing wrong with it. It's fucking fine. These reactionary conservative piss babies have pushed the rhetoric so far that we've ceded an unbelievable amount of ground without even realizing it. We need to stop acting like they have a legal point because they don't. I'm not talking about moral or religious misgivings. People feel all kinds of complicated ways, and I get that, but in terms of the law, there's no meaningful argument. There just isn't. A significant number of people who get abortions identify as pro-life and feel that while their abortion is fine, no one else should be allowed to have one. There's a girl I know from high school who is now a hairstylist, and I used to go to her and sit for 4 to 5 hours at a time, and we'd talk about her sons and her shitty husband and her plans for her business. In our time together, she told me that her husband fucked her with their contraception, and she was pregnant with her 3rd child, even though she didn't want to be. She voted for Trump because she cares about preventing abortion more than anything else. And when I asked her why, she told me that it was because being a mother was such an important thing in her life. And I said, well, what about other people's lives? And she said, babies are important. All our children are beautiful. I don't speak to her anymore. She's reached out to me and I don't respond. Perhaps if I was a better person, I would have the patience to talk this through. Perhaps I would have the broadness of spirit to receive her as she is and to see her in her complexity and handle having her in my life. But I am Tracy, and I am full of teeth and tentacles, and I am strong in my convictions, and the world is black and white, and when I am not Tracy, I am heartbroken by the fact that she is both compassionate and myopic. The clash between those things is too much for me to handle. I don't know how to to hold someone who is simultaneously smart and kind and can't understand that the thing they care about most in the world is horrifyingly brutal and cruel.
26, an exercise.
If you can, if it's helpful, write a letter to someone you never want to speak to again. You will absolutely not send this letter under any under any conditions. If you think you might want to send it, you are to tear it up immediately. This is a key part of the process. If writing it is not helpful or you just don't want to, skip this. Here are some prompts. This is the last time I remember loving you. This is the last time I remember respecting you. This is the idiosyncratic thing about you that I once appreciated, and perhaps still appreciate. This is the thing I wish I could make you understand. This is the thing I can't comprehend about you. This is the thing I wish I could help you with. This is the thing I will never forgive you for. This is the part of me I wish you could see. This is the amount of space you take up in my mind, and this is how I feel about it. This is why I can't keep you in my life. This is what I want for you.
28.
I'm Claire, but I'm 32 now. I have to tell you, I'm very into the whole early 30s thing. I'm getting my PhD in civil engineering, which is amazing because no one actually knows what that is. So I'll say, I'm a grad student, and they'll be like, oh, cool, what do you study? And I'll say civil engineering. And then it's like, oh, great. Because no one wants to be like, I don't know what civil engineering is. And I don't ever really feel like explaining it. I'm single right now. I got an abortion last year. First, only one. I'm always fascinated. I'm not fascinated, just all the women my age who are thrilled about Roe, grown-ass women, I just want to know, I'm curious. You've never made a mistake? You've never had an accident? You've never, had someone kind of not listen to you or, started without a condom because it felt good and then it felt too good and then, you've never just really wanted raw dick? Everybody always wants a story, I feel like. Why do you deserve this healthcare? What, horrible thing happened to you that makes you deserve this healthcare? Even, kind of liberal people sometimes, I feel like, tell me why it's not your fault you need this abortion. Tell me you need an abortion, but don't talk about sex. And I'm just what if it's just because I made a mistake? Just because I was really into him and I asked him to start without a condom because I liked how it felt better. I don't know, I feel yeah, I had an accident and I fixed it. Yeah, last year I started jogging and it was so dumb. I broke this random bone in my foot. I was checking the time. I didn't see this little hole in the sidewalk and my foot twisted weird. It was bad, I couldn't put weight on it and I went to the ER. I knew something broke, I knew it. And no one cares how you hurt your foot. I don't know, I was just sitting next to someone who cut their hand and there was a guy with, I think it had to be a dislocated shoulder. It was hanging all weird. You want to talk about dumb mistakes. My brother has actually been to the emergency room 2 separate times for falling down our mom's basement stairs. The first time he was 12 and he tried walking down them in rollerblades. And the second time when he was 19 and he had to have whipped cream, he had something. All we did was have sex the way we normally did and he came early. We would usually finish with a condom. I didn't skydive or jump off something or eat an expired yogurt. I don't know, no one's oh, you ate an expired yogurt? I hope you shit yourself forever. Any other healthcare, it doesn't matter what happened to you or what you did to yourself, they just try to help you. And to be clear, I loved, everyone at the clinic where I got my abortion was amazing. It's not they were judgy at all or not gonna help me, they were magical. I just mean in terms of general perception about what mistakes we deserve compassion about. What mistakes we get to heal from and what mistakes we get to tell our friends about over coffee and what mistakes we get to tell our moms about. When the thing happened with my ankle, I had this kind of bro-y doctor who was actually really good. I kind of hated him when I saw him, but he was nice. And he asked about what happened and I'm I checked my phone and I didn't see this hole and he was oh yeah, we get that all the time. So many people do that. He was holding my foot at some point and pressing it with 2 fingers all over the place. I'm I don't know. He asked how I did it. He was never not gonna help me.
29.
Let's start some rumors about the Supreme Court.
It's the least we can do.
It really is, though. It is the least we can do. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, like.
Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was
okay.
saying.
Samuel Alito likes to pee himself for fun. He likes how warm his urine feels on his legs. It makes him feel cozy, but when it starts to cool down and he feels the fabric of his pants sticking to his skin, he bursts into tears. I have pee on my leg, he yells, and one of his clerks has to run in and change his pants. Samuel Alito refuses to help change the pants. He just stands there and cries. Anyone who clerks for Samuel Alito knows about the pee pants. It's an open secret and it is 100% true.
Neil Grosh's believes in something called the pool mafia. It is unclear exactly what it is.
Clarence Thomas is not a human person. He is actually a giant skin balloon full of hornets. The hornets who live inside of the big balloon skin used to live in the Lincoln Memorial, but their nest was destroyed by an exterminator, so to get revenge they made a big balloon that looks like a man, and they went to law school and ingratiated themselves to the political establishment, and now they're destroying our civil liberties. Honestly, I kind of get it, because America did try to genocide them, but I still wish they would stop. If you're in a room alone with him and you listen closely, you can hear the buzzing. Ginny Thomas is also a big hornet balloon.
Amy Coney Barrett is afraid of the vacuum cleaner.
Chief Justice John Roberts ends every day by climbing into a giant bathtub full of melted Velveeta. He calls this the human queso, and he makes all his clerks watch him do it. He's fully clothed every time, so it's not like sexual harassment, but honestly, it's maybe worse. Every time he yells, I'm a big nacho chip, and lowers himself into the Velveeta, and it's really hot and it burns its skin. Ow! Yells Chief Justice John Roberts. This cheese is so hot. This cheese is so hot, but I am a big nacho chip and I can handle it. Afterwards, one of his clerks has to scrub all the Velveeta out of the bathtub. All the clerks take turns, but usually one person ends up doing it more often. Usually that person becomes a leftist.
Brent Kavanaugh likes to suck on pregnancy tests. He'll suck on them until it's saturated with his spit, and then he waits 15 minutes to see if they'll turn positive. He knows they won't, but he sucks on one every day at lunchtime just in case. He stares wistfully at them as his spit makes its way to the center of the test, always chasing that exclusive second line.
We're really good at that.
Thirty.
Since 2016, I have felt very few moments of calm. I've been on edge, waiting for everything to end. I knew we could lose Roe, and I feared it. But above all else, I feared being complacent. Growing up, I loved to read the diary of Anne Frank, as her spirit was beautiful and her resilience inspired me. I would thank God that I did not have Anne's unfathomable struggle or the struggles my mother endured as a Haitian immigrant. And growing up a black girl in a farm town in Miami was not easy. But there was so much hope in the air. Even after the Great Recession, even after 9/11, and I know there will be hope again, but the hope will be different. It'll be like this, wish. It'll come from knowing that we can't get tired. Hope is now action, not feeling. This place saved me from drowning in the sadness of losing Roe. The sadness of knowing some people like me and in places like where I'm from never really had Roe. They had suppression, ICE. So this play has holes. It would be 1,000 pages if we included every perspective, nuance, and crevice on abortion rights. So I thank God we aren't men. Because if our writing came from a man, it would immediately be upheld without regard of the experiences of others. Like how towns will go out of their way to do socially irrelevant productions of Shakespeare, who I love, before they make useful theater to resonate with the living people. Because Shakespeare is important and dead guys matter. That's our Constitution. That's our government. Textualist, not humanist. My hope is that you critique, add, and challenge the wish. As every great living document to serve living people should evolve as a reflection of mankind's constant evolution.
31. You know me enters. There is no time this takes place, but one of her moments in passing.
Why people be using words like legislator? I want to understand it too. Easy like. I don't want to have to look up shit because I can't reach the words without pulling out my Google dictionary. I don't know. I do know. People telling me what I can and can't do with my body in a law. How can anybody do that? Maybe those people feel guilty because if a 12-year-old can understand the fucked up shit going on, because you wrote them words, easy like, they know that your body and what you can do with it is compromised through laws. And if you left the youth alone with facts, would they learn to fear their bodies? Or do it happen some other ways? Easy like.
32.
It's time to talk about the Dobbs decision. It's one thing when your rights are taken away, but when the justification for removing them is so intellectually flimsy, it's a whole extra slap to the face. You couldn't even pretend that you had a real reason. You had 50 years to come up with something that made sense. Here, okay, let's unpack. We're getting the textualist argument we expected. The word abortion isn't in the Constitution. Okay, fine. The word privacy isn't in the 14th Amendment, which is a scintillating legal mind. Wow, okay. Now we get to dive into English common law, which is honestly not a sentence that I should be saying right now, but here we fucking go. Alito's next argument is that throughout history, society has condemned abortions and the people who have them, which, wow, very subjective angle from King Baby textualist. To back that up assertion, Alito uses English legal precedent. I don't know if you all remember, but America stopped being part of England 250 years ago. Why the fuck are we talking about English common law? Alito heavily references the work of Matthew Hale, an English jurist who died in 1676. Matthew Hale believed in the four humors and also thought that leeches were real medicine. Matthew Hale allowed a ghost sighting to be taken as evidence in the witch trials at Bury St. Edmunds, which set a precedent for the Salem witch trials. Oh, right, yeah, Matthew Hale presided over literal witch trials. Matthew Hale wrote a long defense of marital rape, and Matthew Hale also thought abortion was bad. Honestly, given that I'm not a scholar of 17th century English history, I don't want to get too into the weeds about Matthew Hale. But what I do know is that the idea somehow we need to maintain continuity of law with a guy who died 100 years before the United States is actually a country is offensive. It's nonsensical, it's an affront to reason. They care so deeply about the founding fathers. Matthew Hale died before any of the founding fathers were fucking born. Alito's goal in referencing Hale is to establish that for a long time, as there's been America, we've been condemning abortion. Roe hinges on the due process clause of the 14th Amendment, and Alito claims that for something to be a fundamental right under due process clause, it needs to be deeply rooted in this nation's history. So what he's trying to do is establish that historically abortion has been condemned. But by zeroing in on this one guy, he's really cherry picking here. Because even according to the English common law that Matthew Hale practiced, abortion was legal until 15 to 20 weeks of pregnancy. Most states didn't outlaw abortion until after the Civil War. Historians suggest that by the 1950s, more than 800,000 abortions were taking place each year. Not safely, not legally, but they were happening. I'm having trouble seeing the historical precedent in his argument. Sounds like one old British loser said abortion was bad, and that's what we're working with. Most likely, Alito says that one of the reasons it's okay to get rid of Roe is because the Affordable Care Act provides more protections for pregnant people than ever. Samuel Alito, who has repeatedly argued in favor of dismantling the ACA, says that the people who need abortions will be fine to give birth and have babies because the ACA ensures they'll be getting the medical care they support and need. Anyone with health insurance, also anyone without it, can also tell you, what? In a country living with rapidly rising maternal mortality rates, where giving birth will run you $5K on the low end, $11K on the high end, and $30K if you have a complicated pregnancy, where insurance barely covers anything, where there's no guaranteed parental leave. The ACA is evidence that pregnant people will be fine, no worries. Again, this man has said the ACA is unconstitutional. Everybody, I'm exhausted. Do you feel exhausted? Here's what it is. Samuel Alito has political objections to abortion. His reactionary, conservative compatriots have the same objections. They want abortion to be illegal, and they want a reason to review other 14th Amendment cases. They wrote this bullshit to justify doing what they want and to justify removing more civil liberties in the future. That's it. Don't let anyone tell you it's more than that.
33.
The way it works in Texas and Oklahoma now, the way it works in 2022, is abortion bans are implemented by private citizens. You can sue anyone who helps someone get an abortion after 6 weeks and sue them for damages, money for $10,000. So, I was wondering if they'll sue me. I was wondering if they'll sue this play. Because, like, watch this. You can get abortion pills prescribed and mailed to you for use up to 10 weeks in pregnancy, wherever you live in the United States here. At AIDSaccess.org. So, did I do it? Did I help? Does that count? If someone reads that and types it into their computer in Texas or Oklahoma, they'll get those pills and they're 7 weeks pregnant. Does that count? So, do you want to sue me? Do you want to sue the person saying these words? Do you want to sue Google Docs for giving me the place to write these words? Do you want to sue the designer who made the font that I am using to write these words? Do you want to sue my mom? She's taught me abortion was a right, so technically, I guess she is why I'm writing this. She is a social worker for 35 years and she just retired. Or maybe you want to sue my grandmother because she raised my mother and she taught her to be her own person, and my mom taught me that. She has Alzheimer's. She can't talk or leave her hospital bed or eat solid foods, but maybe you want to sue her for raising my mother who raised me. Or do you want to sue her mom? She's dead, but maybe you could sue her. And I don't even know what she thought about abortion actually, but she worked at a meat processing plant and her second husband died in a mysterious fire. She had 3. And a woman like that make woman like me. And a woman like me write a play like this. And plays like this tell you that if you go to AIDScrisis.org, AIDAccess.org, you can get medication abortion after 6 weeks in Texas and Oklahoma.
34. Longtime clinic nurse sips from a bottle of water.
You know what it is? Here's what it is. Roe is gone. It's gone. They got rid of it. And no one seems worried about what we're gonna do. They assume, they say, what are you gonna do? You're gonna suffer quietly, you're gonna shove sharp things up your vagina and bleed to death. And I think, if you lock us out of our own bodies, where do you think we'll go? Maybe to your doorsteps. Maybe we'll sleep in your house somewhere you don't realize. We'll be gone before you wake up, but you'll swear something is different. You'll swear something feels different, something was moved, your microwave is on the wrong setting. It's unsettling having the wrong person in your house. This decision was an act of violence. It was absolutely an act of violence. What makes you think we will not return that violence? What makes you so certain? I'm not saying we should. They take it for granted. We can hurt you, you won't hurt us. And it's true. It's true. Because we don't hurt people. You do, we don't. We don't hurt people. We don't let people die.
35. Grief.
As any creative writing teacher will tell you, it's easier to be angry than sad. And I think any person who has felt those feelings would agree. Anger has a motor and it propels us, or at least we feel like it does. Anger doesn't necessarily offer solutions, but it tells us a special little secret. And that secret is that we can, if we rage enough, make a difference. I think that's true on some level. I genuinely believe in the power of rage because grounded rage, rage that's rooted in the desire to make the world better, is love with teeth. But I also think that we fall back on rage when the sadness is too much. Sadness tells us that something is over, and it slows us down, and holy shit, it's so hard to slow down. I know in myself that sadness is very close to hopelessness, and there's a fear that if I let myself grieve, I'll stop moving. But here's something true. That grief isn't going anywhere. Refusing to look at it or pretending it's something else, that's not going to make it go away because that's just not how this works. We've got to figure out a way to hold it because otherwise it'll just get heavier and heavier. I think it's scary to dig into it because it feels like taking the lid off one of those prank cans, like a prank clown can that looks like it's got Pringles in it, but then a bunch of fabric snakes spring out. It's like you take the lid off, then yikes, everything will just come out boing and gross, we have to deal with it, but you already know this on some level. If you're here, I'm guessing you understand. I have no good grief ideas. We only have a few moments and that's not a long time, but maybe something we can do right now together is sit and be quiet. Maybe for a minute, maybe for 5 minutes, maybe we can listen to our breath and to each other's breathing, and maybe for a little bit we can feel our feelings. It might not work, we might just sit here and feel terrified or awkward or overly aware or fidgety or bored, but maybe we'll touch something honest. However much time we spend here together won't be enough. It'll never be enough. It can't be, but it's a start.
If I went to
The beach.
dinner, it would make me
Satisfied.
This feeling consumes my mind. When I let myself
Feel,
it never makes me
whole,
but I want more
love,
for
myself,
I need more
joy,
for
everyone,
it is what gives me
life.
37.
It's Annie, but I'm 67 now. I had 4 abortions. I had 2 babies. I gave up coffee 10 years ago, and it's great. I had a bunch of jobs, so I don't know what to say about what I did except a lot. I did a lot. I got a degree in sociology, and I have a lot of feelings about that. It was interesting. I worked for a woman who made sculptures of trees. I prepared to ship. She sold a lot of trees. I taught music. I was pretty sure I hated teaching music, so I stopped, but I tried it 2 more times to make sure. I ran the office of a woman named Bethany, who was an engineer till she got pancreatic cancer. I fell in love 6 times, but 2 of those were with the same person. I modeled scarves for my friend's Etsy page. I worked at a nonprofit where we collected pads and tampons and distributed them. That was probably my favorite thing I did. And also, I like my kids. I worried they'd diminish me, but they didn't. Maybe I can't be diminished. I don't think I ever have actually been. I was pregnant and unpregnant 4 times, and, well, actually, I was pregnant and unpregnant 6 times, because nobody is pregnant forever. It's not how it works, and I am just so fucking happy.
38.
This is where we make a wish. You can close your eyes. Don't worry, I'll keep watching. So breathe. Just keep breathing. In and out. In and out. And conjure some joy. Do you have it? Hold it lightly. Drop it on your heart and let it drip. And as you do, make a wish. What is yours made of? We make wishes by foraging for them inside us. We build them out of us. Is yours blood or magic or marrow? Is it urine or tears or spit? And when it feels real, like really real, breathe it out into the world. And know it's yours. The world is yours, even when it feels like it isn't. So say we all.
End of play.
Yeah, thank you all so much for coming. We do have some time afterward if you want to just like meet the actors, talk to anyone here. Also, if you could fold your chair and put it away, I will love you forever. But thank you so much for coming to this. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.